Hi guys, I'm back again. Sorry I'm a bit late today. I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about why we keep doing this. What's the point of 20 minutes a day and how that can make such a difference. I talked about that a little bit yesterday and told you about the progress that I'm making on this quilt. And I want to talk about the idea that how you can, if there's anything you want to change, not just, I want to change the fact that I'm a quilt starter and not a quilt finisher, right? That's the purpose of this 20-minute segment of my day. But that's not the only thing I want to change. There are loads of things that I could change about my life. A long list. I'm sure we all have a long list. And this technique will help with that. So what we're doing basically is we've made a commitment and we are taking action, right? The combination of those two things is what's creating change. Yeah. So, for example, we've committed to show up, I've committed to show up every day and make a space for myself and for you to create together with me. And together, the commitment is I'm committed to making a change, and the action is I'm actually showing up and doing it, right? Even if I don't feel like it, because remember yesterday I said I was having some crazy stuff going on in my life and I did not feel like it, but I came anyway. And even today I showed up anyway, because again, there were some repercussions from the crazy stuff. I've been up since 5 a.m. Waiting for the RAC to come and help me out with my car. So there were some repercussions today from the crazy stuff. And I almost said, I'm not going to go do it. And then I said, no, I'm going to do it. So it's that commitment in that I want to change and that I'm going to do this specific thing at this specific together. That commitment and that action is making change, right? It's changing my quilt, obviously, because it's now I think only about a week away after sitting around my house for 5 years. 5 years? Yeah, 5 years. But it's also changing me because my goal is to change myself from a quilt starter to a quilt finisher. And this is making me a quilt finisher as well. That's a really cool thing. And that does a lot in changing my life and who I am. This idea of commitment plus action equals change, that's a really great tool for anything you want to change in your life. Anything. There's so many things that I've thought about. For example, when my weight goes up and down all the time. And when I wanted to lose weight last year, I committed to walking every day at a certain time. I got a certain time and in my head, and I got a lot of specifics about, okay, I know this is where I'm going to walk. And I added those two things together, the commitment and the action, and I made a change. I lost weight. Now I moved house and I couldn't, my schedule changed, and also I didn't know the routes where I was going to walk, and so I don't have all that in my head. So over the last 6 months, I haven't been doing that. So now I want to make that change again because I've gained weight because I haven't been doing my walking, and there's all sorts of other benefits that I get from walking as well. For me, it's like I used to say, it's like going to church when I'm out in the woods. So now this is another thing that I'm going to do. I'm going to add commitment and action. But the commitment has to be really specific, not just I'm going to work on my whips, for example, or I'm going to walk every day. The commitment has to be at 9:30 every morning, I'm going to work on my whips, and here's my list of my whips, and this is the whip I'm going to start with, and here's a list of the tasks that are left for this quilt. Yeah, same thing with my walk. I have to get in my head, okay, this is the time I'm going to walk every day, or well, I walk the dog every day, but for training purposes, for exercise purposes, I only walk 4 times a week. So those are slightly different walks. I know where to walk the dog every day. So now I need to change for those 4 days. I need to think about when I'm going to do that and how long and what my route's going to be, right? I need the specifics, because if I don't have it scheduled into my day and if I don't have those specifics already in my mind, it ain't going to happen. Because you know what's going to happen? I'm going to say, I should walk today, but I don't feel like it. And this is the combination that we need for change in our life, commitment plus action. Now, here's the thing that I was going to share with you also about commitment plus action equals change. What about fear, right? Because fear plays into it, right? And we don't always say, name it as fear, but there is fear, right? Maybe you're afraid to like work on something. Okay, like for this quilt, for example, I was afraid my ideas wouldn't work. I was afraid it would take too long. I was afraid that it wouldn't come out right. All those things, right? That's kind of a fear. I was worried that it wouldn't come out right, or I thought it would be too difficult. You know, all of that is sort of a fear-based feeling, right? It's not a comfortable feeling, even to a level of, let's say, discomfort, maybe not fear. But if you have that fear and you take action anyway, then that, my friends, shows courage, right? It's not that it's not that people who are brave or have courage never have fear. Everyone has fear. It's what you do with it that counts. So with that, I've been talking too long, and it's time to get working on your project. I hope you brought something to work with. I'd love to hear about it if you drop me a note in the comments, and I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. Let's get going. Like I said, I normally would play music when I'm working in my sewing room, but I can't. So because I don't have a radio license or whatever. So you can cry if you want, and you can drown out me. The neighbors were, it shouldn't be too bad. So let's do our little sort of creative flow accelerator that I call it. And I call it that because this is the fastest way that I know of to get into creative flow. There are other ways, and I'll share some of those with you later. And in fact, I have a course coming up. I'm releasing my course this weekend, and in that course, I'll share some of the other ways as well, because it never hurts to have different layers. But this is the fastest way, which is why I call it my Creative Flow Accelerator. So let's do the Creative Flow Accelerator. So sit or stand comfortably and close your eyes. Make sure your feet are evenly placed on the floor. You're nice evenly weighted on the floor. I have to kind of scooch forward to do that. So take a few deep breaths in through your nose. Push your stomach out of the way and out through your nose. A few more deep breaths in and out. Last time, in and out. We want to let go of everything that doesn't concern you right now. Just let it go. Anything and everything. We're going to do a check-in with our body. I'm going to start at the top of our head. Feel our head. Notice our head and all the back and the sides of our head. Jawline. Notice any tension that you're holding there and just relax that tension. Then down to the neck. Relax the tension in the neck. Give your neck a wiggle if you need to. I have a lot of tension there. Keep on going down to the shoulders and the arms. You can drop your arms and just sort of give them a shake. Wiggle your fingers. Relax. And on down to your body. Make sure you're not holding your stomach in too much. I do when I'm sitting up to sew, because I want to make sure my back has a lot of nice support, but you can let it go for now, just briefly, and relax it. Make sure it's not tense. Down to your thighs. Make sure you're not holding tension in your thighs and your legs. On down to your knees, your shins, and the backs of your legs, your calves. Give your feet a bit of a stretch. Stretch your calves. And finally down to your feet. Give them a bit of a wiggle and wiggle your toes. So now bring your attention back up inside your head, behind your eyes. Sort of between your eyes and your nose, right sort of behind your nose. A few more breaths and focus on that space. Not thinking about anything, just focusing on that space. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, and you're going to keep that space in mind. And as you work on your project, if thoughts come to you, just release them. Let them float away and focus on whatever work you're doing. Just allow those thoughts to float away. And I'll see you in 20 minutes. morning. So it always goes quickly. I say it every day. It's such a surprise when the alarm rings. Sorry about that. I think I lost connection. My internet's can be a bit dicey out here in the countryside. So what I wanted to say a little bit more to you is the reason that I think that this Creative Flow Accelerator, this method that I use of closing my eyes and taking some breaths and noticing my body, is such a good way to drop into creative flow, is because it takes us away from our verbal, rational, reasoning part of our mind and gets us focusing on the nonverbal parts, the body and the nonverbal part of our mind and our system. And that helps us drop into creative flow. Because that's where creative flow is. Creative flow lives in the part of our body and our mind that has no language, that's nonverbal. So really noticing the body and focusing on our body when we're doing the physical work as well is really helpful. So that's why I say if a thought comes, just release it gently and let it go, because thoughts will come. We can't get rid of our thoughts ever. It's very, very difficult to completely get rid of thoughts, but we can learn to gradually, with practice, create a little space inside our head where for moments at a time, the thoughts can be held at bay and there's just space. And it's a really cool thing. And that's what getting into deep creative flow helps us do, because we're so focused on what we're doing that verbal part of our brain doesn't kick in. Anyway, it's a delight to sew with you as always, or create or make with you as always, and I will see